off of my Patreon podcast. I'm talking about the heart energy over there and the fire energy, mostly because we're in the time of the kidneys right now, which is exactly the opposite, the 180 from the heart. The kidneys are the time of winter, storage, deep unconscious knowing, the things that we feel in our bones, the things that we sense in our guts. Instinctive knowing, like sexual drive, being able to recreate. So it's this deep, dark underworld, and it's our root and our base. And so right now in wintertime, that's the most active part of our bodies. It's the part that needs the most understanding and attention. And for kidneys, that's a time of storage and rest, and things should be calm because right outside the leaves have died. Everything's gone deep in the earth. It's nourishing itself. It's getting ready for the springtime energy, but we're not springing yet. We're underground. We're hibernating. And unfortunately, in the winter of 2025, we are not living that energy. The things outside of us are very much out of balance with nature, and they are purposefully destabilizing us and creating a sense of fear and chaos. And so this can really damage the kidneys, this kind of vibration, because the kidneys, when they're in alignment, when they are healthy and in balance, relatively speaking, we feel aligned will and courage. It's the opposite of fear. It's knowing that what's underneath is stable and strong, and that we feel that truth in our bones. And that truth and that aligned will is what helps us to carry out the mission of the heart. The heart is our truth. It is not an action. It is an empress or an emperor that sits atop the throne, that carries the message, that holds the staff. I am the light. I am the guide. And then it's the general that carries out the mission. That would be the liver. But the energy to do that, the aligned will and the courage to do that comes from the kidneys, comes from our root, from our base. And that's the water. The water sits below, the fire sits on top. Okay, so these two things being, a balance for each other, literally top and bottom, I'm trying to get my, literally top and bottom of the body, the water and the fire loop, and that guiding light. So what happens when we lose our base? What happens when that becomes destabilized? We might feel anxious. We might not feel supported. We might not even be able to see our mission because we might be distracted by that low tympanic bass drum that's beating below. Fear, fear, fear. So right now, kidney energy, kidney exercises, things that are good for your kidneys nutritionally, mentally, physically, knowing what that is. I have stuff on that. You can go look at that. Patreon, your acupuncturist friend, Laura, or you can look through YouTube. I'm still building my library here. But as we work on that, we have to recognize we might be feeling some things up top. We might be feeling some anxiety. We might be not sleeping so well. We might be having a difficult time knowing what to do with ourselves and where to go and how to spend our energy. We might have a difficult time right now feeling inspired and seeing the light path that we're meant to be on. So focusing on the heart, focusing on that energy, understanding what it feels like, what the symptoms might be associated with a heart imbalance on an energetic level. Because here's the other thing. When we think about the organs, people always want to go, yeah, but really in Western medicine, what is it? Tell me the real thing. There are so many things that happen in the body before issues become somatized, before they move into that physical energy of the actual organ, where then we can see it on a scan, right? Or we can go in and operate on it because we can diagnose it in this really gross way. What's so cool about East Asian medicine and Chinese philosophy and theories are that they can identify patterns in the body that are quite literally related to that organ, but before it gets to the tissue level, when it's still at the energy level. And one of those energies is our emotions. Emotions are generated in a very complex way. To think that an emotion is not physical is a simple misunderstanding of anatomy and physiology and physics. So this is why I talk about these things, because we can recognize dysfunction and disease before it becomes somatized, or if it has become somatized and we're starting to feel those issues and we're tuning in before our body has screamed at us or killed us, we can untie some of these knots. by understanding the psycho-emotional. So it's not always a what's that Western answer. There's some actual simpler answers that can really lead you to a path of healing. So check out my Patreon. Look for stuff here. I'm going to keep recording here too. But I wanted to jump on and talk with you a little bit about the heart and give you a little bit of insight and information from an Eastern medicine perspective.